Hello, and welcome to the Old Mecanico Show. Thank you for stopping by. We hope you stick around a little bit. What are we learning today? We're learning about the three nothings. The three nothings when it comes to having your vehicle serviced or repaired. And I guarantee you know that last nothing already. So what are the three nothings? Here they are. Nothing's quick, nothing's easy, and nothing's cheap. Was I right about that last one? Nothing's cheap. You know that part, but do you know why nothing's cheap? Nothing is cheap because nothing is quick and nothing is easy anymore. Let me give you a few examples. Where shall we start? Let's start with the starter. For 100 years, the starter was outside the engine, usually left or right of the oil pan. And to replace the starter, they would charge you about an hour's worth of labor. Here's how it works. Everything is predetermined. The labor guide, for example, on a 2010 Ford F-150 with a so-and-so engine, they charge you by the book. And the book says it takes 1 hour to replace that starter. And that's what they're going to charge you. Now, each shop has their hourly rate, and that's the only variation that occurs. But we're going to keep it simple in this video and say they're going to charge you $100 an hour. So, when it used to be fairly simple and kind of quick, you would pay $100 to have the starter replaced. The $100 labor plus maybe $150 for the part. That was $250 to have a starter replaced. Today, the starter has been moved inside the engine. I couldn't believe it. The first one that I became aware of was the Cadillac NorthStar engine. The starter is now inside the engine under the intake manifold. To replace the starter now, all the injectors have to come out, the fuel lines, the wires, the hoses, the connections, the clips, the intake manifold has to come out. All of this takes time and you're going to pay for it. What used to cost $100 labor now can cost $300 labor to replace the starter. I wonder why they did that. Anyway, let's go on. The second example of how nothing is quick and nothing is easy and nothing is cheap. The water pump. Same story. For about 100 years, the water pump was on the outside of the engine. And they did the same thing. For some reason, they moved the water pump inside the engine. It is now driven by either the timing chain or the timing belt. Not only does it cost you more money, it used to cost about an hour, hour and a half worth of labor to replace the water pump. Now the water pump costs you 6, 8, and maybe 9 hours worth of labor at $100 an hour. That's almost $1,000 labor. Why? Because the timing chain has to come off, and the close synchronization between the crank and the cam and the balance shaft all have to be kept very closely intact. The chain will be replaced, the tensioners will be replaced, the water pump will be replaced. We're talking about a $2,000 water pump. I have personally seen a vehicle totaled, not in a collision, but because it cost more than it was worth. A particular vehicle, it was like a Chrysler. It was worth maybe $2,000. And it costs $2,000 to the water pump, and the customer says, no thanks, I'll just get something else. Here, let me give you one more example. Same thing, the PCV valve. Same thing. It used to be pretty darn easy to get to. Nowadays, it's down inside the engine. The intake manifold has to come off just to replace the PCV valve. So, is there anything that we can do about avoiding these high costs? There is a little bit. The first thing you can do is stay away from the exotics. Now, I'll just lump them all together and categorize them as European. Instead of itemizing each of the different motor companies, pretty much all the motor company vehicles made in Europe, you already know, cost more. More labor, more parts, everything is more expensive. What about American cars? They don't cost as much, but I have a gripe against them. They just don't seem to last. The quality is not there like they used to be. I used to be a hardcore, loyal, dedicated Chevrolet man. I got a damn tattoo to prove it. But today, no way I would buy a Chevrolet. So what does that leave us? That leaves us with Asian vehicles. There was a time where almost all the Asian vehicles were pretty darn good, but unfortunately, they've taken a decline on some of them. The better Asian vehicles, in my opinion, that are simple and last and are trouble-free and don't cost too much to repair, the Toyotas, the Hondas, and the Mazdas. I did not mention that Nissan. Thank you again for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. If you learned something, put it in the comments. That motivates us to keep these videos coming. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Thank you very much.